Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Thanks so much for joining me for day 18 of the 2020 Planner Advent series created by Simone and featuring myself, John at Planning with John, Amanda at Ink Imperfections, Simone, and Dakshana. This fourth video for each of us is about our inspiration and also about existing in a community that has a lot of new releases and new products constantly coming out and how we navigate that. I will link everybody's channels and Instagram accounts in the description box below, and I would definitely suggest checking them all out. On screen, you'll see me in my A6 Hobonichi, which is my journal this year. I'm participating in Create December 2020 by Bree at Documented Journey, and this year it's hosted by Bree and Emily from Emmylou Arts. I've done most of my doodles in a ballpoint pen before the video, and you'll see me using this watercolor brush pen, which is the first time I have ever used one of these. I was inspired by Simone and how she does her brush lettering with them, and you'll see some trial and error. There's definitely a learning curve here in terms of, well, for me anyways, getting out the right amount of water. And then because the way I hold my pen is such a unique grip, I couldn't quite figure out if I should hold this water brush pen that way or if I should try and hold it more loosely like I do with an actual watercolor brush. Anyways, I'm just playing around with it and you'll see how it goes on screen. On to the video questions now. The first question asks, what inspires you? Where do you go for inspiration? When I think about inspiration, 3 different categories come to mind. The first is social media. So for me, that's Instagram, Facebook groups that I'm in, and YouTube. I'm not going to mention any specific names because there are so many wonderful creators who have inspired me in so many different ways. Some creators inspire me to try new art styles. Others inspire me to take a look at the function of my systems. Others inspire me to use what I have, and there's just so much great content out there that I'm really thankful for social media and the kind of light and supportive side of it. Another source of inspiration for me are my own supplies. Sometimes if I'm feeling stuck, I will take a look at what I have, and I've collected quite a bit, and I will just see what's grabbing my attention, pull it out, and give it a try. And my most organic sources of inspiration are my current needs. If I realize there's something that's not working for me the way I need it to, or if there's a hole in my planning or journaling system, I will sit down and brainstorm what exactly I think I need. And after I've done my own brainstorming, I'll usually go on Instagram or YouTube and see how other people have set up similar systems. And then I just get to play around and tweak it until I have something that I enjoy and that's functional for me. Question 2 asks, how do you deal with the constant quote-unquote pressure to buy new things? When we think about pressure, it's often external. For me, I never felt any external pressure to keep up with the Joneses or anything like that. I just wanted to honestly try as much as I could because other people make certain things look so great and work so well for them that I always wanted to try it for myself. Obviously, that's not sustainable, realistic, or even possible. I think one of the things that has really helped me manage that feeling of wanting to try everything is simply reminding myself that I can love how somebody uses something and also recognize that it won't work for me. Those 2 things can exist together. I think I used to think, I love it, it's so functional for them, it's going to be so functional for me. And it's just not the case. We all have different needs and styles and things going on in our lives. So now it's he or she is making that system work so well for them. I love seeing what they're doing and leaving it there. I mean, I will of course have the discussion with myself, do I think that could work for me? Do I have something similar? It's often, am I willing to give up my pocket bullet journal for this? And the answer to that is usually no, and lets me know that I am happy where I am and I'm admiring where other people are. It's really important to me that I find a balance where I'm comfortable. So for me, that means not judging myself too critically if I do make a purchase, and not spending excessively on things that I don't need. It's finding that middle ground, giving myself grace if I do slip up, and just constantly reevaluating my own needs and boundaries. And I'll be honest with you guys, my moods hugely affect my fear of missing out and my urges to purchase. If my stress level is high, if my anxiety is high, if my mood is low, all of those feelings can compel me to, search out a source of pleasure or that dopamine hit. And online shopping is so easy. The term retail therapy was coined for a reason, and luckily I've done some work on this, and I know that it's something that is easy for me to fall into, so I'm pretty self-aware and I'm pretty kind to myself about it. I usually will recognize that, hey, maybe there's something underlying, and try to address that instead of hitting that, buy now button. And other times, I will put things in my cart and see if I'm still interested in a few days, or I'll make a list, and sometimes just writing it down kind of fills that craving. Maybe I'm overstating this, I'm not sure. The point I'm trying to make is I am way more likely to make impulsive purchases or just to shop in general if my mood is low or anxiety or stress are high. And I recognize that in myself. I know my own triggers. And the other thing too is that it's okay to do things that bring you joy. One of the ways that I look at it and balance it is that I try to budget for, stationery purchases or books or things like that. And as long as my needs are being met, it's also okay to invest in your own enjoyment and happiness. So do what works for you and find that balance and be realistic about it. And this is just part of my process. Question number 3 asks, how do you make purchase decisions? Do you have a budget? I will tell you right off the bat that I haven't found a system that I'm happy with yet. I've tried full no spends. I don't love them. They're a little bit restrictive for me, although I can certainly see the value in them. I've done sinking funds, and I've tried monthly budgeting as well. I think in the end, that's the combination I'm going to work on in 2021, is trying to figure out an amount that I'm comfortable with and play around with it and see how that goes. I do have 5 questions that I've written in all the volumes of my bullet journals this year, and those questions are: did I plan this purchase? Is this a company I want to support? Does it suit my needs at this moment? Would I rather put this money towards something else? And can it wait? Rereading these questions now, they're great and they kind of hit all the areas I need them to hit for just how I see things. But I did not revisit these questions hardly at all. So I do think I will put these questions on my desk somewhere, maybe in the notebook as well, but definitely somewhere where I can see them front and center. I know I really want to create a strict budget for myself, so I think the first probably quarter of the year might be figuring out the amounts and trying to tweak it, and then just rolling with it and giving it a try. I need to set boundaries for myself. I find that extremely helpful, and I need them to be honest and realistic. Otherwise, I run the chance of not sticking to them and then, not trusting myself when I try to set budgets and boundaries in the future. Another thing that I like to remember is that there are other ways to kind of refresh your goodies. It could be something like swapping with a friend, or you could challenge yourself to, pull 3 different items that you haven't used in the last 3 months and find some way to use them. So it's not always about getting something new. It's maybe getting something new to you or looking at your own things in a new way. So I try to remind myself of that, and I do find that it helps just when I want that sense of change or freshness. The last question asks, when do you know that you have too much? Are you a stationery minimalist? I'm going to answer the second part of that question first and say that no, I am definitely not a stationery minimalist. Over the past few years, I've collected quite a bit of goodies and had the opportunity to try a bunch of new things. I am starting to hone in on my specific preferences, but I do still have a lot that I've accumulated along the way. For me, I know that I have too much when I am overwhelmed with the options before me. If I don't even want to start journaling or planning because it all feels too overwhelming, then I know that's the time to make a change. For journaling or planning, that means putting away all of the ephemera and just going back to pen and paper. And when it comes to my actual stash, I will go through and do a purge, usually a couple of times a year, more if I'm feeling especially overwhelmed. I've mentioned before, but I'm a supply or substitute teacher, and my mom also works with children. So the good thing is that whenever I am getting rid of any sort of stationery supplies, they are always going someplace that I know they'll be loved and used. And that really, really helps me let go because, kids love the markers, the pens, the stickers, the washi. Anything I send their way has been met with a great deal of delight, which delights me too. Hearing the term stationery minimalist is interesting because on some level, I think there's always part of me that feels like I quote unquote should be a minimalist and, only use a very limited number of things. And some people do that and it's their style and it works great for them. Also, that's not me. That's not where I am right now. That's not what I want or enjoy. I would like to move more towards a curated collection where everything that I do have, whether it's 2 washi tapes or 200, are things that I absolutely love and use and reach for. I think that is my goal, and I'm getting closer to it, the further along in this journey I go. So these questions brought out a lot more introspection than I expected, and I'm really happy to have the chance to be open about these types of thought processes and share them with you guys. I will leave the questions in the description below, so I'd love to hear your answers in your own YouTube video, in the comments on Instagram. Did anything that I talked about ring true to you? Do you approach things differently? If you do budget, how do you budget? That would be something I'd definitely be interested in hearing about. I hope you've been enjoying this series of videos as much as I've been enjoying making them. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.